You've felt it before. That eerie sense that the world around you rearranges itself after a single moment of deep clarity, like reality blinked, and suddenly something clicked into place. A text arrives, an opportunity opens, the tension dissolves, and yet you can't explain it. People call it luck, others say it's coincidence. But what if it's neither? What if it's the symptom of something far more fundamental, a hidden law quietly shaping the fabric of what we call reality? The hidden law of vibration isn't new. Every mystic, every physicist, every artist who's touched the edges of truth has whispered it in their own language. They spoke of resonance, frequency, coherence, but always the same message: nothing is still. Every thought, every cell, every possibility hums at a specific vibration. The strange part is how personal this gets, because it's not the world that shifts first, it's you. When you change your emotional signature, the way your body feels, the tone of your inner signal, the world begins to answer differently. Not metaphorically, literally. People act differently. Timelines cross that never would have met before. Events unfold that seem impossible. But here's the catch most people miss. You can't fake vibration. You can't think positive your way into coherence. You can't force a frequency you're not embodying. And that's where so many manifestation attempts fail, because they stay at the level of thought, not signal. This isn't about pretending, it's about tuning. Because you are not a static observer standing outside reality. You're part of the orchestra. And every note you play, consciously or not, shifts the entire composition of your life's field. So if reality really is responding to vibration, what exactly is it listening to? To understand the hidden law of vibration, imagine reality as a vast ocean, not made of water, but of waves of information. Everything in this ocean, from a tree to your heartbeat, is pulsing at its own frequency. Your emotions, they're the pattern your wave sends through the field. Here's the part most people overlook. Vibration isn't abstract. It's physics and biology intertwining. Every emotional state has a measurable frequency pattern. Your heart rate variability, your brainwave coherence, even the electromagnetic field radiating from your chest. When those systems fall into harmony, they broadcast a clear signal into the larger energetic field around you. That signal doesn't attract things in the way pop spirituality sometimes claims. It organizes probability. Like ripples intersecting on a pond, coherent frequencies reinforce certain patterns and cancel others. Your vibration becomes the selector, deciding which version of reality becomes solid in your experience. Think of it like a tuning fork. Strike one fork and hold another nearby. The second fork will begin to vibrate on its own, resonating with the first, but only if it's tuned to the same frequency. Reality operates under the same rule. The experiences, people, and chances that share your emotional tone start to vibrate in your orbit, those that don't simply fade out of your timeline. But this isn't about manipulating the external world. It's about becoming the version of you whose frequency matches the reality you want. When your inner vibration shifts, the outer field reconfigures naturally. It's the observer effect. Consciousness influencing outcome, but not through willpower, through resonance. That's why action taken from misalignment feels like running uphill. You're sending out contradictory signals, one through thought, another through your nervous system. The field only responds to coherence, not effort. If this sounds mystical, consider this. Scientists at the HeartMath Institute have shown that the heart's electromagnetic field extends several feet beyond the body and synchronizes with other fields nearby. When two people reach emotional coherence, their heart rhythms literally sync. Multiply that by millions of moments of resonance, and you begin to see why reality shifts aren't magic. They're interference patterns of collective vibration. And here lies the secret. You are not trying to make the world change. You're learning to stabilize the frequency where the version of reality you desire already exists. But most people hit a wall here because they're told to raise their vibration without understanding what that really means. What if raising it isn't the point at all? Here's the myth that quietly derails almost everyone. The idea that higher vibration automatically means happier, lighter, or more positive. That's not how vibration works. It's not a ladder where sadness is low and joy is high. It's a spectrum of frequency states, each carrying its own data. Trying to escape half of them only fragments your signal. True resonance isn't about climbing, it's about coherence. Your energy flowing as one clear tone, no matter the note you're playing. Let's ground this with a moment you've probably lived. You're staring at your phone, waiting for a message. You can feel that the person saw it. Your chest tightens, your breath shortens, thoughts race. You start looping. Why didn't they answer? Did I say something wrong? That inner static isn't just emotional. It's vibrational dissonance. Now watch what happens when you surrender the control. You pause, you exhale. You feel the tightness in your stomach instead of fighting it. Slowly, the body begins to release its charge. Within minutes, your whole field softens. And then, like clockwork, the phone buzzes. Message received. Coincidence? Maybe. But how many coincidences follow this pattern before you start to suspect something deeper? In that moment, your vibration didn't raise, it aligned. You stopped broadcasting fear and started emanating presence. The law of vibration doesn't reward emotional avoidance. It responds to emotional coherence. Every feeling, when met fully, resolves into harmony. That's what opens the field. The myth of positive thinking sells control disguised as spirituality, but the field doesn't care about what you pretend to feel. It mirrors what you embody. You can say affirmations all day, but if your nervous system is broadcasting panic, that's the signal reality receives. So instead of forcing joy, try truth. Feel what's there without trying to escape it. The paradox is that honest emotion always vibrates higher than denial, even if it feels heavy in the moment. That's why some of your biggest shifts have come right after breakdowns. You are finally vibrating truth, not resistance. And truth, in frequency terms, is the most magnetic vibration there is. Still, coherence has a gatekeeper, and it's not the mind, it's the body, the nervous system that decides whether your frequency can stay stable long enough to shift the field. And that's where the real work begins. You can't tune a trembling instrument. That's why no matter how clearly you visualize, if your nervous system is flooded with fear or urgency, your vibration scatters before it ever stabilizes. The body is the amplifier. And if the amplifier is full of static, even the purest signal distorts. The nervous system is what tells the universe, it's safe for this new timeline to exist. Every time you try to shift reality but your body doesn't feel safe, your vibration flickers between desire and defense. That's not sabotage, it's protection. The system is wired to keep you alive, not to make you evolve. Until safety is established, no amount of manifesting overrides biology. But the moment your body feels coherence, that deep cellular "I'm okay," the frequency becomes clear enough to hold new information. That's when timelines start to reorganize around you. So how do you create that coherence in real time? Let's try a 45-second practice right now. Close your eyes. Drop your attention from your head into your chest. Feel your heartbeat even if it's faint. Don't try to change it. Just listen. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. As you breathe out, imagine the exhale clearing static from your field. Now, bring to mind something or someone that evokes genuine appreciation. Not forced gratitude, but a quiet warmth. Let that feeling spread through your ribcage like light moving through water. Keep breathing in that pattern. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Notice how the body softens, how the mind quiets without effort. What you're doing is syncing your heart rhythm and brainwave into coherence. This is measurable. Researchers have seen it create a smooth sine wave pattern in the heart's rhythm. In this state, your field broadcasts stability. That stability reorganizes everything it touches. It's not magic. It's physics meeting presence. From here, your thoughts carry weight because they're no longer static impulses. They're coherent waves. You begin to feel life responding faster, not because you're making it happen, but because your signal is finally clear enough to be mirrored. When you learn to regulate your nervous system, you stop trying to control reality and start communicating with it. But even coherence isn't the end. It's only the bridge. Because there's a deeper layer than emotional state, something more permanent that determines what realities can even register as possible for you. And it has everything to do with who you believe you are. Most people chase temporary states, bursts of confidence, moments of peace, flashes of belief, and mistake them for transformation. But a state is like weather. It moves through. It doesn't define the climate of your being. The law of vibration doesn't respond to passing moods. It harmonizes with the dominant identity that you embody most consistently. That's the steady tone beneath every emotional fluctuation. You can meditate, journal, visualize, but if your self-concept is still the one who's trying to become, the frequency of trying will continue to broadcast through everything you do. Your vibration stabilizes when your identity shifts. Here's why. Your subconscious, the real operator of your field, organizes your biology and behavior to match who it believes you are. When that internal reference updates, your actions, expectations, and even your physiology align automatically. The field doesn't need convincing. It follows the signal of your self-image. Think of it like a musician tuning their instrument to a new key. You don't just play different notes. The entire song sounds different because the bass frequency changed. You might enter moments of elevated emotion, that manifestation high where everything feels possible. But if the identity underneath still vibrates with scarcity or self-doubt, the nervous system won't sustain the signal. It'll collapse back to what feels familiar. This is why deep shifts often feel like loss at first. You're detuning from an old self that once felt safe. The body grieves it. But the moment you anchor into a new internal truth, I am the one who lives in ease. I am the one whose creativity is trusted. I am the one who is chosen. Always. The external field reconfigures without strain. That's the secret behind effortless manifestation. You stop trying to change your life and start remembering the version of you that already lives in the reality you seek. Identity is the frequency that selects the station of experience. States are just temporary signals flickering in and out. And if identity selects the frequency, what happens when you realize there are infinite frequencies, infinite yous, vibrating in parallel? The answer rewrites everything you think you know about choice. If identity is frequency, then timelines are stations, parallel tracks of reality, each already broadcasting its own version of you. None of them are created when you imagine them. They're selected. The moment your vibration matches the emotional code of a new timeline, your perception locks onto it like a radio dial snapping into perfect reception. Every potential outcome, the healed body, the thriving business, the loving relationship, already exists as a standing wave in the field. You don't build it from scratch. You tune in. Imagine you're at a job interview. Your palms are sweating. Your heart's racing. One version of you, the one vibrating with anxiety and self-doubt, lives in a timeline where the interviewer feels your tension and moves on. Another version, grounded, self-assured, vibrationally congruent with confidence, exists in the timeline where the same interviewer sees you as the obvious choice. The difference isn't luck or preparation. It's vibrational selection. The interviewer is responding to the coherence of your field more than the words you say. They're feeling the subtle frequency communication that happens beneath language, the one that says, "This person fits." And when you truly embody the energy of that confident version before the event, the external moment organizes itself around that signal. You don't jump timelines by forcing an outcome. You jump by inhabiting the self who naturally lives there. The shift is subtle but radical. You stop visualizing the future as something you'll reach one day and begin to sense it as something that's already vibrating here, waiting for you to match it. Every emotion, thought, and movement becomes data you're broadcasting into the quantum field. The more consistently you embody a frequency, the more stable your access to that timeline becomes. That's why acting as if only works when it's somatically integrated, not play acting, but full-body familiarity with that reality's tone. It's like remembering a song you used to know by heart. Once your system recalls the rhythm, you fall into sync without effort. And the wildest part? When you tune into a new timeline, your memories begin to reorganize subtly to match that frequency. The past reshapes itself to support your new identity. That's why shifts can feel dizzying. Not because you're becoming someone else, but because you're remembering who you were always capable of being. Still, knowing this doesn't guarantee you can hold the new vibration. For that, you need tools, a practice that makes the new frequency your default. Reality rehearsal isn't imagination, it's calibration. You're not pretending to be your future self. You're training your nervous system to recognize that frequency as home. Without rehearsal, even the most aligned timeline feels unstable, like tuning into a radio station that fades in and out. But when you practice embodiment consistently, the static disappears, and the new station becomes the only one that plays. Let's build your toolkit. Tool 1. Bridge statements. These are the energetic links between your current vibration and your chosen one. They're not affirmations, they're transitions. Instead of "I am abundant," which your system may reject, try "I'm learning what abundance feels like in my body," or "It's becoming easier to relax into trust." These phrases don't trigger disbelief, they invite safety. You're giving your field permission to adjust gradually without resistance. Tool 2. Somatic anchors. Every frequency has a physical correlate. For example, The timeline of peace might feel like warmth in the chest or looseness in the jaw. The timeline of creative flow might feel like electricity in the hands. Once you identify that sensation, anchor it. When you touch your heart, stretch your shoulders, or press your palms together while holding that feeling, you're imprinting a physical trigger for that vibration. Over time, your body learns to recreate the state instantly. Tool 3. Sensory imprinting. This one rewires memory. Close your eyes and imagine the sensory data of your desired reality. Sounds, textures, air temperature. The key is not visualization, but sensation. If you can feel the new timeline in your skin, your subconscious starts logging it as real. You're tricking the nervous system into accepting that vibration as familiar. Tool 4. Coherence rehearsal. Before any action, sending a message, entering a meeting, making a decision, pause for 10 seconds and align your breath and heart rhythm, just like in part 4. Then silently ask, which version of me would act from coherence right now? Move only when your body answers with ease. That micro practice alone stabilizes your field faster than hours of mental rehearsal. These 4 tools are your vibrational gym. Used daily, they recondition your field from reaction to resonance. Over weeks, you start noticing the world responding in sync, people finishing your sentences, doors opening exactly when needed, coincidences clustering like magnetic particles. Have you noticed that the moment you stopped gripping, what you wanted finally showed up? Tell me your story in the comments. It might unlock someone else's leap. But even with the right tools, most people still hit friction. There are traps, invisible ones, that split your signal and keep your vibration flickering. And they're subtle enough to feel like normal life. Every frequency shift meets resistance. Not because the universe is testing you, but because your system is recalibrating from familiarity to freedom. The 3 biggest obstacles that scramble vibration are urgency, split signals, and over-control. Let's decode them. Urgency feels like drive, but it's actually fear in disguise. When you say, I need this now, your field is vibrating lack, not alignment. Urgency contracts your timeline. It narrows possibilities instead of expanding them. Imagine trying to tune a radio while shaking the dial. The signal jumps, static fills the space, and coherence vanishes. The antidote? Slow time down. When you feel urgency rising, pause and breathe until your nervous system remembers there's no emergency. The more you relax, the faster the field responds. The paradox of vibration is that stability accelerates manifestation more than speed ever could. Split signals are even trickier. They happen when your conscious desire and subconscious programming broadcast 2 opposing frequencies. You say you want love, but a buried memory vibrates with fear of rejection. You want abundance, but your nervous system equates visibility with danger. The universe isn't ignoring you, it's receiving mixed data. You can't override a split signal with willpower, you integrate it through honesty. When you find an inner contradiction, don't try to fix it. Sit with both frequencies and listen. Ask, what does this part of me need to feel safe joining the signal? Every time you reconcile a split, your field becomes exponentially stronger. Over-control is the final trap. It's when you try to micromanage the how, scripting, checking signs, revisualizing obsessively, all because the nervous system doesn't trust the unseen process. Over-control is static disguised as productivity. It sends a message to the field. I don't believe this will happen without me forcing it. The cure is precision surrender. You stay intentional but not tense. You act from coherence, then release expectation like a breath you no longer need to hold. That release isn't passive. It's the signal of trust, and trust has its own vibration, the purest carrier wave of all. When urgency softens, when split signals integrate, and when control relaxes into trust, your field stabilizes into something astonishing, neutral magnetism. From there, manifestation becomes less like effort and more like gravity. Still, the ultimate test of coherence isn't in meditation or ritual. It's in how you move through ordinary life, the moments between moments, where vibration is either lost or lived. The real mastery begins when vibration leaves the practice room and enters your every movement. Because manifestation isn't a morning routine, it's a continuous broadcast. Every walk, every meal, every word carries a frequency code that either reinforces or scrambles your signal. The easiest way to anchor the hidden law of vibration into real life is to make coherence ordinary. When you wake up, before your mind floods with tasks, take one conscious breath and feel for your baseline vibration. Not to judge it, to acknowledge it. That one check-in resets your frequency before the world does. As you shower, imagine the water tuning your field, clearing static, recharging the signal. When you drink your coffee, feel its warmth synchronizing your body into presence. Each act becomes a vibrational calibration, not a chore. During conversations, notice your tone and posture. When you shrink, you're broadcasting insecurity. When you expand your chest slightly and breathe through your words, you transmit coherence. People respond instinctively to that vibration. They may not know why they trust you more, but they feel it. Even walking becomes a practice. Instead of rushing, let your steps sync with your heartbeat. This entrainment anchors your electromagnetic field into rhythm with the Earth's pulse. You'll find coincidences clustering on days you walk this way. Calls at the right moment, strangers offering help, decisions aligning without effort, and perhaps most importantly, when you eat, do it from coherence. Food vibrates with memory. The frequency you hold while receiving it determines whether it nourishes or numbs. A single mindful meal can recalibrate your whole emotional field more than hours of affirmations. These integrations aren't symbolic. They're vibrational continuity. When your daily life becomes a feedback loop of coherence, reality stops feeling random. You notice how the tone of your internal dialogue shapes the rhythm of your day, and that rhythm becomes your access point to stability. But here's the thing. Once coherence becomes natural, the field begins to respond exponentially. Reality expands, relationships shift, opportunities appear out of nowhere, and the scale of change starts to feel almost cosmic. Because coherence in one person doesn't just tune their timeline, it alters the entire web of resonance they belong to. And that's when vibration stops being personal and starts being planetary. When your vibration stabilizes, it doesn't stay contained. It ripples outward, reorganizing the field around you, relationships, creativity, health, even the collective spaces you inhabit. You stop being just a participant in reality and start becoming a transmitter within it. This is where the hidden law of vibration reveals its real power, the shift from personal manifestation to energetic leadership. Let's start with relationships. When you maintain coherence, the people around you unconsciously synchronize to your field. Arguments that once escalated now dissolve faster, because your nervous system refuses to match chaos. You don't need to persuade or fix anyone. Your regulated frequency becomes the stabilizing tone others tune to. It's the same physics behind how a calm person can soothe a whole room. Now, consider creativity. True inspiration isn't summoned, it's received. When your vibration is open and coherent, new ideas flow through without resistance. You stop overthinking and start channeling. Artists, scientists, and innovators all describe this same state, the sense that they didn't create the idea, they caught it. The law of vibration explains why. Your signal reached a field of higher information and resonated with it long enough to translate it into form. And then there's health. The body itself is a frequency system. Every cell communicates through electromagnetic exchange. When you sustain coherence, your cells literally synchronize, improving circulation, immunity, and regeneration. You can feel this in moments of peace, that subtle inner hum of aliveness. It's your biology vibrating in harmony with your consciousness. To ground this, let's step into scenario number 3. You've been dealing with a chronic creative block. Every time you sit down to write, your chest tightens. You push harder, chase deadlines, drink more coffee. Nothing flows. One day, instead of forcing it, you breathe. You drop into the same coherence you practiced in part 4. You feel your body melt, your frequency steadies, and then the words begin to pour out, effortless. Hours pass like minutes. When you finally look up, you realize you've written the best piece of your life. That wasn't a coincidence. The block wasn't mental. It was vibrational congestion. Once your field cleared, inspiration could finally reach you. And as this state becomes normal, something beautiful happens. Your life starts teaching others just by existing. Your energy becomes a silent invitation for coherence wherever you go. But underneath all of this, the science, the stories, the synchronicities, lies something even deeper. A truth so vast it turns vibration from a tool into a sacred language. At a certain point, the mechanics of vibration stop feeling like science and start feeling like communion. You realize this isn't just about fine-tuning personal outcomes. It's about aligning with a larger intelligence that's been guiding the field all along. Every coherent frequency is a conversation between your consciousness and the deeper fabric of existence. When you align emotionally, physiologically, energetically, what you're really doing is remembering the language the universe speaks. resonance. That's why the greatest shifts often arrive when you've stopped trying. You exhale, release the grip, and suddenly, everything rearranges with precision you couldn't have orchestrated. The call comes. The right person appears. The decision feels obvious. You didn't push, you matched. This is the paradox at the core of all vibrational work. Surrender is not weakness, it's synchronization. When you stop insisting, it has to happen my way, you move from the limited signal of ego to the vast coherence of source. The nervous system relaxes, your heart rhythm smooths, and your frequency finally becomes wide enough to include divine intelligence. That's when manifestation shifts from "I want this" to "I'm allowing what's already aligned." It's not blind faith, it's biophysical trust. Your entire body registering that it's part of something intelligent enough to self-organize reality. And when you live from that trust, even chaos has rhythm. Challenges stop feeling like punishment and start revealing as realignment. Every detour becomes a tuning process, adjusting your frequency closer to what you truly are. The ancient mystics called this surrender to the divine flow. Quantum physicists might call it resonance with the unified field. It's the same phenomenon viewed through different eyes, consciousness merging with the intelligence that breathes galaxies and heartbeats alike. When you live this way, daily life becomes a kind of prayer, not in words but in vibration. Every breath says, "I trust the field." Every heartbeat becomes an echo of that greater rhythm pulsing through everything. And the final revelation is humbling. You were never creating reality alone. You were co-creating it with the very frequency that dreamed you into being. But how do you end this dance, this conversation with the universe, in a way that grounds it back into the human moment? By returning to the simplest truth, the mirror doesn't change first. You do. Reality is not a screen you project thoughts onto. It's a mirror that reflects your dominant vibration with stunning precision. Every encounter, delay, breakthrough, all of it is feedback. The world isn't judging you, it's tuning with you. The hidden law of vibration was never about control, it was about remembrance. You don't make the reflection change by effort. You alter the image by shifting the one who stands before it. Every time you soften, breathe, release, and realign, the mirror rearranges itself to match your new coherence. Think of your life as a hall of mirrors, infinite reflections, each representing a different version of you. You've walked through so many already. The one who doubted, the one who strived, the one who finally began to trust. And now you're standing before a reflection that doesn't just look different, it feels different. The tone has changed, the eyes are steadier, the frequency is clear. This isn't imagination, it's the field responding to your signal in real time. You've become the musician who no longer tunes by ear, but by vibration, feeling when life hums in harmony, adjusting gently when it doesn't. The more you master this inner resonance, the more fluidly reality flows. Because the mirror of the universe doesn't respond to force, it responds to frequency. And when you finally embody the frequency of safety, clarity, and love, the reflection can only return in kind. If this message has stirred something in you, that quiet recognition that you felt this law working all along, share what moment proved it to you. The time reality shifted just because you did. Your story might be the reminder someone else needs to trust their own vibration. The hidden law of vibration isn't hidden anymore. It's felt in your breath, your heartbeat, your presence. The mirror is alive, it's listening, and it's waiting for you to remember the sound of your own frequency.